I'm Jordy from Daze Printing, and this is Scott from Unveiling. And we just wanted to sit down, chat a little bit, and talk about Scott's experience and hear directly from you, your experiences with Daze Printing. We want to start with some rapid fire questions, though.
Okay. I'll do my best.
All right. Sweet or salty? Rapid
Salty.
fire.
Salty.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee every time.
Mountain or beach?
Mountain.
Okay. Morning or night?
Morning.
And what's your favorite color?
Blue.
Blue. What shade of blue?
Sky blue, like that
Ah, that makes sense. Is that why you bought it?
card. Yep. Pretty much.
I go just based off of color. Well, cool. Yeah. So we want to talk about your experience this year, because you've been one of our biggest clients and most repeated client this year. So we just wanted to get some feedback, hear your direct experience, things you liked, things you loved, and things that you think could be better, especially moving into the next year as we're wrapping up this year. So I think we wanted to start with, what's a good place to start? I guess we'll just start with, how has Daze helped you this year?
Well, I mean, we've purchased a bunch of merch that has sold really well, and we've gotten it timely, and it has reflected the spirit of Lone Pine, which is hard to do. I think that's the hardest part, is trying to capture whatever your business is and then reflect it back.
Yeah.
We've used a bunch of different printing designers, and I mean, we've had lots of good experiences, honestly. And you showed up and said, "Hey, I'm friends with Daniel. Let me show you some stuff."
Yeah.
And so I'm always skeptical at first. Immediately, I was like, "Okay, I already have this taken care of. Why would I switch?" And you immediately created some designs that you thought we would vibe with, and we did, and you made it really easy to work with and to collaborate and make edits and make changes that actually make changes that would reflect us a little better, but still kept the spirit of what you were going for.
Sweet. That's awesome.
So,
that's all great to hear.
Yeah, no, it was a great experience. It was like a really pleasant surprise.
Nice.
Because you never know. Like, it's hard to find kindred businesses.
Yeah, especially in a time like now, where it's just like, I feel like there's lots of new businesses that are coming up all the time. New designers, and Instagram's out there telling you can start a new business and you'll be profitable immediately. So there's so many different options, and it's hard to find someone that like even with you guys, seeing you guys being willing to just keep pushing through, no matter if there's a downturn economically, if something's not working out, you guys are still willing to push through. And that was something I recognized immediately with you guys, and just one of the reasons why I was like, this would be a great company to work with. So it is hard to find those perfect matches, and then when it happens, it's cool. It's magic.
Not something that I think about actively anymore, because that's just been part of our business sense from the beginning. Is let's just put good stuff out there and keep going, and it'll catch on. Yeah. And if it doesn't, we'll pivot. We'll figure it out.
Yep.
But
that's been our mentality too, and I think that's why it works. Is just being willing to be like, oh, that didn't work. We're gonna we'll try this. This will probably work, or we know this always works, so we'll just go back to that. It's fun to try new things and just keep pushing through. That's good. I'm glad we've been able to work so well together this year. I think it's definitely shown through in the quality of design work, and us having the freedom to create while also being a good reflection of you guys as best we can. And I think that's definitely shown through, and customers have definitely been attached to a lot of the designs. I'm still getting people like, are you gonna make the waffle teas next year? Yeah. Everybody's like, when are we gonna see that one again? So I think it is cool that it's been a quick staple of Daze Printing, of Lone Pine, of this area, of the coffee shop culture around here. And it feels like this question kind of is already mostly answered, but do you feel like it was a pretty good investment? Do you feel happy with the time, energy, and even the finances that were put into
absolutely. It was a pretty easy decision because we'd already been through that process before, and I knew the designs were good and the colors were good and the craftsmanship was good. So it was kind of like an easy, at least with the t-shirts and sweatshirts, it was a very easy decision.
Yeah.
And you obviously value keeping the cost in check, or keeping it in a place where the market will respond well to it.
We do our best.
yeah, and it's like, it's a local product, you're doing everything by hand, it costs more, you're using water-based inks, like you're doing all these things that maybe are a little bit harder, but you're also trying to meet the market and the businesses where they're at, where it's going to work.
Great.
I appreciate that.
Nice. Thank you. I feel like we try really hard to, like, on the price side of, like, we have to make money, but it's also like, if we come in and blow everyone out of the water, it doesn't help us, it doesn't help the customers, because I want to be profitable for you. It's like, if I'm going to sell you shirts and hats and beanies and totes and whatever, it's like, I want those to be on your shelf and customers buying them, and you're making a profit, and we're making a profit, and that customer's also happy. So it's just value 3 ways down. Like that's huge for us.
Win-win-win.
Yeah,
propositions.
It's great when no one's losing, everybody's happy. So definitely an easy decision for that to be like one of our core values. Is just like hitting the market where it should be and where I feel like it's justified for us and also justified for you, the client, to invest. What tips do you have for a new customer, someone who's never heard of Daze Printing? What would you tell them should be their first step? What do you think is something they should know about us before reaching out to us?
I get the feeling that you're willing to try to reflect back their values well. So, like, come tell them what you're really passionate about, so that they can latch onto that, or you can latch onto that and express that well.
Nice.
If that makes sense. Like, you're super responsive to the customer, which we don't always see. I've had other screen printers that have been great, people who've done designs who've been very quick and responsive, but it seems like when you get a project on it, you clearly say, how long it's going to take you, and how long it's going to take to get the product in, get it printed, and then you match that promise. You come through. Great. So it makes it really easy to work with you.
No, which is great.
I would also say just to whenever I'm trying to do creative projects, I'm just trying to be as truthful as possible. So I'm kind of a people pleaser in general, so that's one of my faults that I try to stay away from. Yeah. And so I have to actively say no, or no, that's not really what I'm going for. I want it to be more like this or more like that, or these things changed.
And I've always appreciated your concise, clear feedback. Like, it's always really easy. I know when I send you something, I'm not going to get just like, oh wow, this is amazing, and then 7 days later you'll be like, well, can you do this? It's like you're very like, we're checking with some people, this isn't working, let's make this little change, or let's see this color. Like, it's like it's accurate. You know what you want, and you know your clients very well. So you're like, that's cool. Like, I do like it, but I think this change would make it just that much better in the long run. So it's like, I feel like we've always gotten really, really good feedback from you during the design process, which is great. And then what I was hearing at the beginning is like, you just think like a new customer should definitely come in, like, express their values, express their energy, and like be transparent. And I very much agree with that, because some people are like, either they're going in to buy the merch and they're like, it just needs to be quick, and they're like in a rush or they're a tizzy, and they're like it's not their true selves. And then when they do come through, like you have, where you express your values, your feelings, and how you actually feel about the project, definitely makes the project just shine that much brighter. Like, with the clients that are a little bit like more rushed or like hasty with their answers and responses, I often feel like it either takes us longer to get to that end goal, or the end goal's just still like slightly off. Like I missed it, they missed it. Like it's just like this slight, like a little bit of friction there. So yeah, I think that'll be a good tip for clients.
I mean, design is just art.
Yeah, especially if it's design and not just art. Like I think that's like the hardest part, because design solves a problem, and it's like a lot of the stuff I still do is very illustrated and interesting, and not necessarily solving a problem in the basic sense that like a sign solves a problem or a menu solves a problem. But it's still like the problem of, are people gonna like it? It's like, if I'm making art, art's just my expression. But this is like, I want to express lone pine, so that's the problem to solve, which is always very, very entertaining, very fun for me too, because I'm like, I get to like change my mindset with each project, which is my favorite part.
That's something else that I got from you immediately, is that it seemed like you got what we were about.
Yeah.
And that's your background in coffee, and that's, interaction with other people here, and it came through quickly that you're like, oh, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're trying to create welcome here, you're trying to like have fun with the space and what you can offer.
Yeah, and I think you helped a lot in cultivating the community, and also just your openness, where you're like, you take me into the back and you're sharing personal experiences, stories about Lone Pine, stories about your life, and that does help curate this like idea. Like I have a very rounded view of Lone Pine now, which makes it very easy for me to be like, I think this is going to be sweet. And I think making that connection with people, I think, is what allows me to make great artwork and designs for you guys. So I think this might be, I want you to be honest. What is at least one thing, or multiple if you've got them, that going into the new year you would like to see me and Daze Printing improve upon?
Gosh, I mean, I think you guys are doing a great job. Yeah, I don't have much to say. I think that you're doing something very hard, which is starting a newer business. And I know you've been doing this for a while, that you've built it up a lot.
Yeah.
And I think something that has been very impressive is that you've started to branch out into more media, and you've done the reels for us, and I know they're for you as well, but actually promoting the goods is something that I never expected, or even like that was a thing, and I mean, maybe you said
we've decided it's a thing.
Yeah, well, maybe you start charging for that eventually, but I just think the commitment to the whole process, kind of seeing how you can make it better, is why I'm excited to see kind of where you go with it, because you seem to be like, well, how do I improve? How do I make this work better for everybody involved? Yeah. Along the whole process. Yeah.
We want nothing but winners. Like we said, if it's win-win-win-win, like that's the goal. Like, so I'm glad that shines through. I'm really glad that we've been able to work on these projects together, and that's been very transparent and positive as well. Like, I'm really glad that that's all shining through.
Yeah, I still didn't answer the question.
I know, but I mean, I'm not gonna be mad about praise. So, yeah, I mean, if you think of anything, shoot me a text. And then I think a fun question to kind of wrap it up is, what was your favorite piece of merch that we created this year for Lone Pine?
Yeah, I think it's probably the waffle tee, just because it took me so off guard. I didn't see it coming. My mind is always thinking about the coffee and the bigger experience of the coffee shop and kind of community and all these kind of highfalutin things, and then you just turned the waffle into a cartoon character.
it.
I mean, the waffle iron into a cartoon character.
Yeah. Maybe we make a waffle cartoon character next time.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, that was. Yeah, I think that was that or the bandanas were probably my two favorite. The waffle thing probably is. That's probably my whole time one of my favorites. Like, it was just
The
it was
bandanas
a great one color. Like, just
is so fantastic, and I really enjoyed selling those because they're not something you see very often, and so it's as a business owner, I'm always worried, like, are those going to move? Is it going to work?
Yeah.
And people have been stoked. I mean, it's not maybe as easy of a sell as a t-shirt, but it's like a fantastic piece of merch that's just a little bit different, a little outside the norm.
I think it's nice too, especially when we're in such like an outdoorsy minded place. It's like people throw them, like in our video, it's like people throw them on their dog. It's like people wear them actually as like scarves around here, which you don't see everywhere. But in like Bend, I see bandanas all the time. So it's like, it is interesting that it has. And I have people who are like, I bought exactly, and that's why like the theme of the bandana really worked. I've had like two specific people in the past like week and a half that have come to me like, picked up one of those bandanas, and like my grandma even sent me a text. She's like, "Can you grab me one of those bandanas next time you come to Chico?" I was like, "Yep, I'll go buy one for you." Awesome. So it is funny. Like I like the uniqueness of that item too.
I got one for my sister for her birthday.
It makes a great gift. Well, sweet. I think that's all the questions I had. Do you have got any questions for us?
Well, one of the things that I've noticed that's really different about working with you than working with other places is that you really want to be involved in the ideas. Like it seems like you like coming up with the ideas and then like making new things, and you're like, what about this?
Yeah.
What about that? And I don't know if that's something you want to be part of your business in a greater way or not, but it's not. Usually it's on the owner or one of the managers or a group of people within the business to do that. And it's not always like, that's a hard thing to do over and over again. Is like tap into that creative energy.
That's so funny. I don't think I've thought about it the way you just said it, where it's like because I do know that I like ideating and coming up with things, but I don't think I've ever thought about it exactly like that, where it's like taking that almost like off the client's plate. Like, you're like, hey, I'll just pitch you things until you love the idea, and then we'll do it. Like, because my brain's just always running. I'm like, we got a million ideas going.
That's a great asset, because a lot of times you're going, well, I've got this logo and I've got this idea, but I don't know how to make it visual. And then you come up with all these different pieces, and you try to construe it into a design with the designer, and it feels that way. It just feels construed. It just feels kind of like not formed out of one idea. It's
right. Well, because you're taking the designer, and then you've got you and your team, and it's like all these things. But I guess I'm glad that that's something you enjoy, because I enjoy that a lot as well, especially like the new hoodies. I was like, we were working on just the basic logo, and then I was like, I'm gonna draw this dude on a motorcycle. I was like cafe racer. I'm like, that'd be a fun one. Let's do that. So it is cool that I can, and I feel very thankful that I can pitch you these ideas, and you guys are very receptive. Your staff's always stoked. Like, I come in the next day after I send you a design, and they're like, dude, that's so sick. I want that. Like, everybody wanted the lighter cut, the whitish with the blueprint hoodie. They're like, I'll buy that as soon as it hits the shelves.
We had like half of our employees buy on the first day.
Charlie came home with one. All the roommates have them.
Everybody was stoked.
That's great. I think.
What do you see as kind of the next steps in your business, and maybe in relation to working with client like Lone Pine? Like, what do you foresee in the future?
I think something we're really looking to, that we always come back to, is because of my past in coffee, is like, I know I love doing merch for coffee shops, and finding a way to scale that, where it's like I can take on lots of coffee shops, like all over. Like it doesn't even have to be just like I don't want to. In fact, I think it'd be better if it was more scattered.
Yeah.
So it's like I do one in Chicago and one in Flagstaff, Arizona, and one in Detroit, or like wherever. Like it's just like all these like coffee shops that are kind of scattered that all use Daze Printing and me as their designer, and us as their printer and embroiderer and creator. And I think that's a big thing, is figuring out how to scale doing more coffee shop merch.
Yeah.
That is like a huge, that's like our bread and butter. I mean, my very first client ever was the coffee shop I used to work at. It was the first shop that I printed for, and that was a coffee shop. And then my first client this year, we just looked at the invoices, and you were the first invoice paid this year too.
Nice.
So I was like, God, dude, the coffee shop is where it's at. So that's something huge, is figuring out how to scale that. And I think bringing in the media side, where we help do the promotional side, do some content creation, find a way to kind of work that into a package to where it's still a profitable investment for the client, but also helps just to sell more and get more brand recognition, because it's like making content can be so hard, even if you have a dedicated social media manager or director. It's like, even if they do a reel every day, it's like it's still so hard to get every idea out there. So being that's a second company that comes in and we're like, well, we're gonna print your merch and we're gonna make some content for you, and we'll push it again another month. Oh, you're not having a good job in time selling it? Let's see if we can get it onto a web store and like really like get those things sold for you, so you feel like it was a good investment.
Cool.
Yeah, those are some things that we're working to grow into the
It's
next year.
always been fun to see our merchandise worn or out in the community.
Yeah.
And I've definitely been, on the other side of the country or other side of the world and seeing Lone Pine stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird.
Yeah.
I'm like, how in the world did our small little company?
Yep.
I only made 100 of those.
That's what's crazy. You're like, I know how many I sold, and I gave out 10 of them to friends. So I know those didn't go anywhere. So
Exactly.
it's like, it is so funny to see it really far away. Like even just, I think it was on my drive over here, I saw a Dune Coffee down in Santa Barbara. I think is where they're at.
Little French press.
Yeah, I saw a sticker on the back of it. I'm like, we're not that far, but I'm still like,
It's still,
that's a 14-hour drive.
It's still shocking.
Yeah, it's
how
like
small the coffee world
yeah,
is.
and like those people go to all those coffee shops that you know by name. They go to the Temple, they go to Verve, they go to Dune, they go to Lone Pine. Like they hit all the spots in those fun towns, and I'm like, so it is fun being a part of that culture still, and not being a barista. I think that's been an very interesting pivot for me. It's like
I still get to work in coffee.
Yep.
But in a different way.
Yep, and I still get a couple free lattes here and there, and it keeps that ball rolling. I think it's really interesting. Well, I appreciate it, Scott. I appreciate the time. I think I'm excited for the next year of even more fun, creative merch, and bring back some waffle teas, or do waffle tank tops.
Yes.
Like bro tanks.
Yes.
Sweet. Well, thanks for watching.
Oh, we're still live.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Bye.